All right, made it back to the hotel here in New York. This is a reaction to the conference title games, both of them from the 49ers perspective, because yes, I sometimes go into the chat, read it a little bit before I go live, and boy, it's rough in there. People do not want to watch this Super Bowl. 49ers fans are not interested in watching the Chiefs and the Eagles again. A lot of people are upset, heartbroken for Buffalo, maybe reminded of the 49ers heartbreak against Kansas City in that Super Bowl last season. And this is the matchup of the two teams who have eliminated the 49ers over the previous two seasons. 2023, Kansas City in the Super Bowl, 2022, Brock Purdy got hurt in Philadelphia. So that's brutal, but I think that it's a good chance to spin this forward and point out that, amidst all this, you need to remember today, Josh Allen went out, did his best against Kansas City, obviously came up short 32-29. People talk really well of Josh Allen. He deserves to get those accolades. He's done some special stuff on the football field. He is a unique talent out there. Also has a good team alongside him. The Bills did some nice stuff over this 2024 season, but do not lose sight of the fact, especially in a pivotal offseason like the one the 49ers are facing. They're hitting that big juncture where Brock Purdy is eligible for a new contract. Do not lose sight of the fact that Brock Purdy also went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I would say that he took them into deeper water than Buffalo did today back in Super Bowl 58 last season. That one went into overtime. That couldn't have been closer to a 49ers win. Obviously, they didn't get it. We can talk about the reasons why the 49ers didn't get it. But the big picture is that the 49ers have themselves a quarterback, and they had themselves a team before the exhaustion and injuries and all that struck this year that was able to push Kansas City to the very brink, just like your super quarterback, Josh Allen, and the Buffalo Bills have pushed the Chiefs to the brink. But over the past 2+ seasons, nobody's been able to quite knock out Kansas City. And we could talk about the officiating. We could talk about just the despair that Buffalo fans must be in after the I thought both Dalton Kincaid and Josh Allen converted the first down on the consecutive plays where the officials said they didn't. I thought that Dalton Kincaid was awfully close to catching that fourth down, which he obviously dropped. I'm not so sure that Xavier Worthy caught the contested pass on the other end that Kansas City had in the first half. I mean, when you look at what went right for Kansas City in these toss-up moments and what by extension went wrong for Buffalo, you see how narrow the margin is and how big the heartbreak is going to be. I mean, 49ers fans who think that they have it rough, and I get it. 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. On January 29th, it's going to be the 30th anniversary of San Francisco winning in Miami with Steve Young throwing those 6 touchdown passes against the San Diego Chargers. So over the 30 years, the 49ers have seen quite a bit of heartbreak, but it's also important to remember that heartbreak has come on the heels of 5 Super Bowl wins. Buffalo has not won anything. No Super Bowls for the Bills. And their 30+ years of heartbreak have come on the heels of 4 consecutive Super Bowl losses. I mean, you just can't make it up from Buffalo's perspective. So we were in the Buffalo bar here in New York City. I'll show you guys in a little bit. I'll show you one of the touchdowns. That was the place was as electric as I have ever seen a bar. It was really cool. Actually was ready to go live from the bar had the Bills won that game. We had the mic right here. This mic, not Mike, the producer. Mike was standing by. Mike was ready, but we had the mic ready to go. I mean, it would just have been this exorcism that Bills fans have really needed. You know, not just the 4 straight Super Bowl losses in the early 90s, but the losses to Kansas City, especially the one a couple years ago, right? The 13-second game where it looked like the Bills had it won, and then with 13 seconds left, Mahomes and Kelsey connected and set up the field goal to tie it, and it went to overtime where Kelsey won the game. So tough. But all of these, superstars who are puffing their chests out at the Chiefs and almost beating them, the 49ers and Brock Purdy, they're right in that category. somebody's got to figure something out to take it the one extra step and actually beat Kansas City, even though it does seem that you might be working against a lot of forces. And in this game, I go back every single time to the third and fourth down. I thought Kincaid picked up the third down, first down conversion, and I thought that Josh Allen was over the line to gain, but the officials didn't give it to him. It was 22-21 Buffalo at that time, and then it went all downhill. Here's the thing. Purdy took the Chiefs even further to the wire last season, and the 49ers did not have this. Buffalo absolutely dominated on the ground coming out of halftime today. In the third quarter, they had 15 carries for 86 yards. If you extrapolate that over the course of a whole game, that is 60 carries for 344 yards. And the Bills were just taking it to the Chiefs over the third quarter as they took control of the football game. What happened? Well, the fourth quarter started, and then they hit that third down where Kincaid looked like he picked up the first down, and the officials said no. It looked like they spotted him about half a yard incorrectly. And then Josh Allen, in I think the play that's going to live on in a lot of fans' minds, sneaks on fourth and short, and the official on the far side comes in as if it were a first down. The official on the near side comes in short of the first down, and everybody's looking at each other. The Bills on their sideline are going crazy because they went with the official who came in short for whatever reason. And even on replay, where it did seem that the overhead camera had the ball over the line to gain, they said no. And the Bills, this dominant momentum that they had picked up on the ground was snuffed out. So that was the primary reason why this didn't turn into a victory for Buffalo in this game. But when I think about, looking at this from the 49ers perspective, the fact that the 49ers didn't have this in the Super Bowl. They didn't have 15 carries for 86 yards in the third quarter. They didn't do what Buffalo did today on the ground to Kansas City. Buffalo today, 147 yards on the ground, yet they lose the game. 32 carries, 147 yards. The 49ers in the Super Bowl last year averaged only 3.5 yards per carry on the ground. So Brock Purdy, without a dominant run game, took Mahomes and the Chiefs to overtime, took them to within one play of winning the Super Bowl. That, to me, is significant. That, to me, is something that, you look at how the 49ers are built, and you could say, oh, my God, they have the right guy at the quarterback position. Now they needed to take it the extra step, and we'll talk about the defense that the 49ers can continue to build. The Robert Saleh news this week was obviously big. Special teams is going to be huge for the 49ers. They lost in large part because of special teams to the Chiefs and Super Bowl 58. You saw Nico Remigio, the Cal and Fresno State product for Kansas City today, return that punt 41 yards. That was a huge play in this game. So the 49ers have to build out the support for Brock Purdy. But what we've already seen from Purdy suggests that he more than has enough in the tank to go toe-to-toe with the very best in the league. I think the absolute key for San Francisco, given the fact that they were able to go toe-to-toe with Kansas City last year, despite the fact they didn't run the ball all too well, is to continue to build the trenches. I'm working on a big offensive line piece right now for the San Francisco Standard. And in that piece, I note that the 49ers were number 20 in first down run efficiency this year, down from number 1 last season. And they definitely weren't a number 1 type of performer against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl last season. So at some point, and it probably was as soon as Steve Spagnuolo started looking at the tape following last season's NFC Championship game against the Lions, the 49ers run offense lost some of its powerhouse touch. And then they obviously didn't have it this year, and the Christian McCaffrey injury was brutal for the 49ers, but they weren't blocking the same way that they had blocked in the past, especially on the interior. Spagnuolo figured something out. The rest of the league probably copied some of those elements over the course of this 2024 season, and the 49ers ranked number 20 in first down run efficiency. It snowballed on the rest of the offense. They couldn't get open either. The Brandon Ayuk and the Christian McCaffrey injuries led to the 49ers finishing last in average separation, and we all know how it ended up. It wasn't pretty for the 49ers this year. The offense actually still was able to be competent, but the defense fell off a cliff and the special teams fell off a cliff, and the 49ers finished 6-11. But when, you saw the Eagles game, the first one today, this was one of my first points, everything fell off a cliff for Philadelphia in 2023 when the 49ers broke the Eagles in that December game down in Philly, and not far from here. I'm in New York, by the way, just in case you're wondering where I'm at. We're at Joe's Pizza in New York. Iconic place. A lot of famous people have been to Joe's in the West Village. This was the post-game meal. Anyway, watching that Eagles game down the road, it dawned on me that Philly has executed the blueprint, or a very similar blueprint to the one the 49ers are going to need to execute this offseason to resurrect from such a difficult season. I mean, Philly lost several straight games. I think they might have snuck one win in the midst of that losing streak last year before they were eliminated by Tampa Bay. It was brutally ugly for the Philadelphia Eagles. And what did they do? Well, the defense, which fell off a cliff, saw an overhaul at the top. It's exactly what the 49ers are doing right now. Robert Saleh in for Nick Sorensen. They picked up Saquon Barkley, who is as transformative of a piece as Christian McCaffrey. The 49ers plan to essentially pick up Christian McCaffrey next season. It's going to be like a free agent edition because they really didn't have him this past year. And the Eagles also restocked the defense. They have a lot of good young players on the draft, and the 49ers are going to try to do the same thing. They have to restock the defense. I mean, we look at the 49ers roster right now. I mean, take a look at how many holes they have to fill on the defensive side of the ball just because of the free agency and contracts expiring. Like at linebacker, they only have 3 players under contract for 2025. At cornerback, they only have 3 players under contract who I project to make the 53-man roster for 2025. So they're going to have to load up DB depth. They're going to have to load up linebacker depth. I think they're going to invest some in trying to make the edge rushing position better and the defensive tackle position better. That's all part of building the trenches. And then one thing that Philadelphia is doing really well, and Kansas City has done really well ever since they lost that Super Bowl to Tampa Bay at the end of the 2020 season, is build up the offensive line. And we'll see what steps the 49ers take to try to take another step up front with the trenches. Because the way that Buffalo, it was shocking, downright shocking to see how Buffalo took over that game in the third quarter today, yet they still weren't able to finish it. I mean, they had those 15 carries for 86 yards. It just reminded me that had Brock Purdy had that kind of running support in the Super Bowl, when the 49ers only averaged 3.5 per carry, 5 or 110 yards total in the whole game. Buffalo had almost as many in the third quarter today. Had Brock Purdy had that support against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl last year, 49ers would have won in a blowout. So you have to, if you're the 49ers, you have to come out with a dominant run game next year. Obviously, you want to protect Brock Purdy better on the pass sets, but sometimes the best pass protection is a good running offense, because then you're in good down and distance and you're not facing third and long. And I mean, we've seen that happen with the 49ers before. And I think that today and these playoffs have really underscored the importance of all of that. Taking a look today at the box score, and this is the advanced box score, obviously, Patrick Mahomes was really good. All right, what we could give credit to where it's due. That the QBR 87.9 is awesome. 0.5 EPA per play. He added over 20 points of value. Josh Allen also played well, but Mahomes' efficiency was off the chart. But this is where I have to call out the double standard. I mean, this right here is, they were afraid to hit Patrick Mahomes. Let's just put it that way. They were not afraid to hit Josh Allen. That's the biggest, when we could talk about the missed spots and the drop and the controversial catch from Xavier Worthy. We can talk about all that, but I think on a very fundamental level, when we look at this quarterback comparison, one of these quarterbacks runs around and the defense does not want to hit him. Like, very clearly is letting up. They're whatever is happening. They're afraid to hit him. They don't want to pick up a penalty. They don't want to pick up a fine. One of these QBs is running around with impunity in massive games in a physical sport, or what should be a physical sport. And the other quarterback is getting absolutely hammered on an almost play-by-play basis. And you know who's who, right? You know that the quarterback not getting hit, quarterback who seems to be, dodging defenders who are afraid to touch him is Patrick Mahomes, and the quarterback who was just getting annihilated out there is Josh Allen. So you could say that Patrick Mahomes played really efficiently. I thought he threw the ball well today. He stayed out of trouble. That's all great. But Josh Allen, comparatively to Patrick Mahomes, seems to be playing with one hand tied behind his back. And the illustration came through in the fourth quarter. The fourth down, the quarterback sneak. I mean, Josh Allen's having to strain and try to fight through the bruises being inflicted by like 5 or 6 defenders. Nowhere in this game did Patrick Mahomes have to strain that much physically. And then Patrick Mahomes runs in for a touchdown where it literally seemed like guys were diving out of his way. It's a problem. I mean, because it's probably a manifestation of what we have seen on a week-in, week-out basis. Mahomes is great at manipulating the situation, but the flags fly very frequently. Every single time that there is just a little bit more contact and even times when there's not a little bit more contact than normal. There have been flops, that's been documented, and it's turned into a situation where defenses are just gun shy, and they're especially gun shy against one particular player. And that one particular player knows how to use it to his advantage in the greatest way possible, right? And that's exactly what happened in this football game today. So those are the lessons, though, the 49ers have to learn. I mean, maybe you learn how to hit Mahomes and keep it legal, not have flags be thrown at you. But I think that the key is on the other side of the ball. You've got to control the ball. Buffalo almost executed the formula today. Almost. I mean, they had those 15 carries for 86 yards, but then you've got to hold on to it. And the Bills caught the worst of all breaks when Dalton Kincaid and Josh Allen were both ruled short of that first down marker. It is hard to fathom that Buffalo could lose that way after losing to the Chiefs a couple years ago in the 13-yard game, or the 13-second game, and losing to losing in 4 straight Super Bowls 30-plus years ago. For one franchise to have to deal with all that, that is really, really tough. Anyway, we were in the Bills Bar, Pennsylvania 6 here in New York City. Just listen to how lit this place was. This was on the James Cook touchdown, like the Superman dive on 4th down where he extended. Place went crazy. And you could kind of feel the nerves of the bar early on. This is what we missed out on. We would have gone live from this place had the Bills won. But instead, we have this video from the Bills Bar in New York. As you can see, it was insane. And then we got our Joe's Pizza. So that was really good. Unfortunately, for Bills fans, and even if you're a 49ers fan, you might want to look away. They lit the Empire State Building up in Chiefs colors immediately after the game, forgetting that the Empire State has only one football team in the NFL, the Buffalo Bills. The Giants and the Jets play in New Jersey, but the Empire State Building betrayed the Buffalo Bills. All right, those are the takeaways. The 49ers' reaction to the Bills-Eagles Super Bowl. 49ers are close with their quarterback. They've got the lens through which we cover the rebuild this offseason, though, has got to be looked at through what we learned during this playoff run for both the Eagles and then the Chiefs and the Bills. 49ers have to build those trenches so they can exact what Buffalo was able to do in the third quarter today, but then 49ers have to somehow, some way take it the extra step. If I knew the exact formula for that extra step, that last part, I would tell it to you guys. We'll see the Eagles give it their best shot against Kansas City, trying to prevent the three-peat in 2 weeks. Everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.